Hey, 5th grade, how's it going? Today we're going to go through just the evaluation that we had done last time. I think it's important to look at some of the errors that we had done. Again, these are concepts that we've been learning in March, April, May, and June of this year. And you guys did a diagnostic quiz, which is now closed, but we're going to be taking a look at some of the questions that we really had difficulty on, okay? If you can see on the screen, there were 52 responses, and the red number represents the number of correct responses. So you can see them actually in order of the most difficult to the more easy ones. Okay, we're going to really focus on that last question, the ratio. It was just confusing with the wording, I think, and then also order of operations, factors, and multiples. The rest of the questions, I think, were pretty simple as far as subtracting and adding and other concepts that we've been working on this year. 67% of the answers were representative from 5A, and another 33% were representative from 5B, okay? So let's take a look at this first question. It was one of the more difficult ones. This is something that we learned in April, okay? This number should have been represented by 1,227 because we can see the blocks that are all represented right there, 1,227, okay? So that should have been the answer. 58% of the students got that correct. Nice job. If you take a look at the pattern, which number would the dog represent? Well, it would be 27,800 because it's right smack dab in the middle of 26,000 and 28,000. This next question has to do with the cat. Where is that cat? Well, if you look at the number that's right next to it, it is 23,770. Okay, so if we go up by one number, we are going up. You know, you can see that 23,810, that's going up. We're going up by 10. Okay, so you just add 10, and that final number would be 23,780. The other numbers really don't have anything to do with the correct answer, but most kids got that correct. Nice job. This question, what does that 9 in the blue box represent? Well, it represents 90, right? So if you look at these questions, we have 90 plus 0. Nope, that's not correct. 90 plus 9, that is correct. So we can look at letter B and letter D and kind of see where, which one makes more sense. Since letter D has 8 million plus 700,000, okay, that would be the correct answer. This next one says, which is an accurate representation of the red 5? That red 5 is actually represented as 50 million. Now, Mr. Joseph got that incorrect. I apologize for the mistake on the grammar, but you know, that reflected on the responses that were also incorrect. So I apologize for that. This next question says 6,043,175 is what number? If you read it correctly and you understood the place value, you got that correct. 85%. Nice job. This one was more difficult. If you read that number correctly, it should have been 1,921,120, which is represented in that last bar, that green one right there. Okay. 82,926 is 83,000 rounded to the nearest thousand. Okay, it wouldn't be 82, that would be rounding down. It wouldn't be 90,000, that would be rounding up to the nearest 1,000. Yeah, that'd be rounding the nearest 10,000, and 82,900 would be rounding down. So we want to be rounding to the nearest thousand. Okay, we go up to 83,000. This one was also kind of difficult. Okay, if you estimated 86,723 as 90,000 and estimated 9,207 as 9,000, you just add those two up, and that would equal 99,000. If you subtracted these two but estimated them first, you would have 1,700,000, right? Because that 5 tells the 6 to go up, minus 200,000 because that 165 rounded to the nearest thousand would have been approximately 200,000. Okay, with these other two answers, you would have rounded down. We don't do that, right? 65 definitely goes back up to the 200 and not down to 100. So really, the only answer that could have been correct was letter B. Okay, it says estimate the value and multiply. Well, this one was, I think, relatively difficult for most kids because they didn't recognize the pattern, right? If we take 33 times 2, it's not close to 50. It's closest to this number, 65, right? If we just get rid of those zeros, we just take 33 times 2, it's 66. So 66 is really close to 65, and then we add those factors, the factors of 1,000, right? 3,300 times 2 equals 6,600, so it's approximately 6,500, or 6,500. This one, if you know your factors of 9, right? 9 times 7 equals 63, so all of them had that 7 as their base number, but then you had to see how many zeros were left over. So since 9 times 7 is 63, 70,000 times 9 equals 630,000, okay? What are the correct multiples of 6? Well, if you just take 6 and you multiply it by 2, it's 12. Multiply it by 3, it's 18. Multiply it by 4, it's 24. Okay, those are the correct multiples. These ones are factors. That other answer was factors, right? And here we have the multiples of 15. 15, 30, 45, 60, 75. This first answer was factors again. And the second answer, you were counting by fives. 15, 20, 25, 30. Counting by fives is not the same thing as finding the multiples of 15. And then this last one, again, was factors. So the only answer that could have been was letter B. What are the factors of 100? Well, 1 times 100 is 100. 2 times 50 is 100. 4 times 25 is 100. 5 times 20 is 100. And 10 times 10 is 100. So this is the only answer, this first letter. 39% approximately of you got that correct. Okay, what is 1,000 times 67? Well, most kids got that correct. This answer, this 59% plus this 5% are actually the two correct answers. You could have put a space or not put a space. It's either one. 67,000 would have been your answer. All right, when we divide, I'm just going to actually do this one on the screen because it was, I guess it was kind of difficult. 40% of you didn't get that correct. About 60% of you did get it correct. So if we take 740,000 divided by 10, we are going to divide both sides by 10, which gets rid of the 0 on both sides, and then our new problem is 74000, right? We're going to get rid of that 1 0, and that is our final answer, okay? Which would go right there, okay? Or right there. Either one of those is correct, okay? All right, good. Let's go to the next problem. The next problem says, thanks for your patience. A similar problem, 36,000 divided by 1,000. Well, if we get rid of the 3 zeros in 1,000 and get rid of the 3 zeros in 36,000, we're just basically dividing 36 by 1, which equals 36. 78% of kids got that correct. With this one, we're doing the same thing, getting rid of those zeros, and our final answer is 637. We're actually dividing both sides by 1,000, which is exactly like we did in class. Here we're going to add just like normal. Most kids got that correct. 97 is your final answer. Here, again, you're going to follow the order of operations. 90 minus 12 plus 21 equals 36. Here, you're just going to multiply 3 times 2 times 8. Well, 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 times 8 is 48. Almost everybody got that one correct. That was the easiest problem, I think, out of any of them. Here you have to do what's in parentheses first, right? So 3 plus 7 is 10, and 10 times 2 is 20. So that should have been your correct answer. I tried to trick a couple people up, right? 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 plus 7 is 6, 12, 13. 13 is actually not one of the answers, but I tried to trick a couple of people up, and a couple of people fell for it. So be careful with those problems. 4 to the third power. Okay, these are radicals. I'm sorry, this is a concept that was not seen in prime math. But 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 3 is, I believe, 64, so that should have been your correct answer. Okay. Simplifying ratios was one of the more difficult types of problems on this diagnostic. If we simplify 25 and 5 in the same way, we're going to divide both sides by 5 because that's their common factor, right? So 25 divided by 5 is 5, and 5 divided by 5 is 1. 5 to 1 is your simplified ratio. Here we're just going to multiply. If you wanted to simplify or estimate, you could have done that. It would have been 1,000 times 63, which is approximately 63,000. And the only one that really comes close are the number 1 and number 2, but it's actually this answer because of that tens place. Okay, so these two answers are very close. It's actually kind of surprising how many kids got that correct with these two answers being so close together. Here, with the order of operations, you needed to do what's in parentheses first, and then division, multiplication, and then go back and add. 48% of kids got that correct. So make sure you look back on the order of operations if you don't understand these types of problems. This was the most difficult problem out of any of them, okay? It should have been just 5, right? So 17% of the kids just got that correct. I didn't want you to write anything except for the number 5, but here you have 7 to 5, which is also correct. So if you add 17 plus 23, we had approximately 50% of the kids got this correct. So half the kids got this correct. The answer should have been 7 to 5 because we would divide both sides by 100, right? 700 divided by 1 is 7, and 500 divided by 1 is 5. 60% of kids got this. Really kind of liked this quiz. You said you liked it, okay? And 35% of you guys said so-so, that you need to study, okay? There was a very small percentage of kids that did not like the quiz at all, which is interesting. But you know, those 35%, about a third of you, 1/3 of the kids need to study these concepts one more time, okay? So really try that. Boys and girls, thanks for listening to the video, and if you have any questions, please let Mr. Joseph know. I'm always here to help. I hope that you have a great vacation.